Hi PMs, welcome to the last stage of this challenge. And it's been amazing seeing your submissions. Your submissions have been, really, it really shows that you're following up with the challenge. And I believe you've been learning a lot. So in this final stage, we are going to be prototyping and visualizing the solution that we are going to be using to, validate this with the users, right? And just to be clear, what we are doing here is prototyping. So there's a difference between a prototype and a working software. So a working software, is fully functional and works with real database back end and all of that, while a prototype is something that simulates how a functional application should work. So it's like a blueprint, or it's like, yeah, it's like a blueprint on how it should be. So someone who is not very tech inclined can actually like get the flow and actually think that is a working, app. It's only when the person now tries to use it, the person will realize that, oh, probably is not fully functional, right? So we are going to be using vibe coding and prompting and Lovable. So in case you're not used to Lovable, just go to lovable.dev. That is what we are going to be using today, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like, and I have actually like done the example I want to show you. So this is the example I want to show you, and just to be clear, this is a free Lovable. So Lovable charges about $20 a month, but we can use the free version. So this is something I want you to have in mind. I want you to have in mind that Lovable comes with free credit, but you have to be careful. So you can use those free credits, I can utilize it very well to actually do what you need to do. So those free credits, they update it every morning, like every 24 hours until it finishes for the month, right? So I think I don't know really how many credits, either 5 or thereabout, or 10 credits daily. I think 5 credits daily, right? So when you finish, I think they have like a maximum they give for the month, and once you finish it, then you can wait for the next month. So if you don't have the $20 yet, you can use it. Basically, you can use um the free one to actually get what you want to get, right? It has some limitations, obviously, but for the sake of our class, we can achieve what we want to achieve. So, and this is enough. Now, normally, before now, Lovable is just a new product, but before now, we normally use things like Figma, and it requires you have some level of design knowledge and experience. Even though it's still valuable if you can learn that. In fact, in one of my challenges, I'm going to be teaching about wireframing and actually coming up with prototypes in Figma for design for product managers, if that is something you want to learn. But for the purpose of our class, Lovable is enough. The aim of prototypes is just for us to be able to validate and show the users, because users might not fully understand what we have to show them. If it's just in a sketch, or in a user flow, they won't understand it fully. But when they see it as an application, working application, or a prototype, then they would be able to understand how it actually works. So this is how Lovable is. I'm not going to be spending so much time showing you everything on Lovable. So I'm just going to be showing you what we need for this particular project. So normally what you need is your first prompt, right, that you just put here. Now there are some best practices that I want you to utilize before or during vibe coding or prompt engineering. The first thing is you need to have known what you want to prototype. So you don't just come to Lovable and just start vibe coding. You're going to run out. You're going to, because you're not working in a direction, you're going to run out your what is it called now, your credits really fast, because you're not working in scope. So you need to have scoped out what you want to do. And for our the purpose of our learning, I think you have already done that. You have done your user flow, so you already know the scope of what you want to do, so you don't just start asking it to do a lot of things. That way you can easily run out of your credits, right? The second thing I like you to know when you're vibe coding, or when you're trying to prototype in Lovable or any other vibe coding tool, we'll have like other tools, that do similar thing. But for the sake of our class, we are going to be using Lovable for this one. So the second thing is that you need to be clear, right, in your prompting. Don't use ambiguous, stuffs, and don't make it too complex, right? That's the second one. The third one is you don't have to tell it to do everything at the same time, because it requires some processing time. The more complex or more ambiguous it is, the more time is going to spend processing, and the more complex the result is going to be. So it's better that you give it bit by bit. So make sure that your prompting is bit sized, right? You're not giving it everything at the same time. So I'm gonna show you what I used. The first prompt that I used, this is the what I built, and I did this in one day. So if you utilize your credits very well, you're going to be able to get at least what you can use to submit this particular task. And this task ends tomorrow, so please endeavor that you submit on or before the end of 30th, because once it enters the next day, you might not be able to get your certificate, right? So ensure that you submit before the end of the task, the last task. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first prompt that I gave. So create a mentor discovery flow for first time mentees to discover and book mentors. Start with learning goal selection and important filters. Show mentor recommendations. Allow profile viewing and enable session booking with ease. Now, because I already understand what I want to do, you see that I went straight to the point. Now, also, like I said, once you get your first result, you can now keep making it better to your taste until you actually get what you want. Right now, I don't want you to focus so much on UI, like beautiful UI. As you can see, my UI is not even all that beautiful, but if you can make yours, in fact, I want yours to be more beautiful than mine. Right? If you can make yours more beautiful than mine, fine, but don't focus on the UI at this stage, because you're trying to manage your credits. So just come up with the experience, then the next day, probably like 31st, after you must have submitted the main thing, you can always come back here and make it better, make the experience better, make the UI better, because the next day you're going to get more credits. So it took it 14 seconds to think about it and process it, and it showed me what it wants to do, and it even showed me like the colors, the design guide it wants to use and all of that. Now there's more to Lovable than what we are going to do today, right? There's more to Lovable. There is a way you can even use your own design guide to come up, but that's beyond the scope of this particular class. So our aim today is just to use it to come up with a simple prototype. You can even use Lovable to build a full application with your database, in combination with Superbase, but that can come later, right? So once it was done, it brought out the first version. Now look at the okay, this was what I put in here. So once you get into Lovable, you sign up, and this is what I put in here. That stuff that I copied, let me go back to it. This one, right, was what I put in as my first prompt, right? So I'm not going to put it again because I already have it. So I'm going to come here. So after it was done with the first result, right, look at the second prompt I gave it. So after selecting a time, show the mentee a screen that allows them pay. Now in the initial results it gave me, it didn't show me this particular part, right? And I had to tell it to add it. Now I don't want you to do exactly what I did, because my flow is different from the flow you have. Ensure that you're working with your flow, right? And I'm also going to re-emphasize on the overview of that particular task. There are some things I want you to take note of, right? So it added the payment flow, and by time I finished, it showed me that okay, it was successful. After that, I told you that after payment is confirmed, take the mentee to the dashboard where they meet the same mentor they booked, chats, live call and all of that. So where they can start their mentorship with the mentor. Now like I said again, this shouldn't look yours shouldn't look exactly the same with mine, because your solution is different. Even though we are solving the same thing, but our flow is different, right? So that's what makes our solutions unique, right? And that was it before my credits finished. So depending, now somebody who doesn't know how to use Lovable very well might not be able to finish and get a good result before their credit finishes. Now let me show you. So let's say what brings you here, right? Let's say leadership, then mentor experience 5 years, under $100 per hour. So anything beyond I don't want, right? And let's say Wednesday, and then find mentor. Now notice that it gives me different mentors and their profiles. Now because I already told you that I want to explore the mentor profile, so this is not enough, because this is just like a preview. So it's showing me how I can actually explore each of them. So this is their name, how many years of experience they're about, which is basically what I was looking for, their expertise, their available times, the languages they speak in case I'm not maybe in the same country with them, and all of that, how much they charge. Now once I'm okay with this, I'm going to book the session, right? And once I book a session, select a time, is going to bring up, because I asked it to add this, right? In yours it might not be needed, right, for you to add that, depending on the flow and depending on the task requirement. So it's important that you read the task very well. I'm just using this as an example. So once I pay, it takes me to the dashboard. Remember I told it to take me to the dashboard, so it's acting the same way I had prompted it, right? So that's vibe coding and prompt engineering for you. So once I come here, this is it, right? And I can start chatting with this guy now. So he's online right now, and feel free to share any questions. I say, oh, thank you, Marcus. I will love us to focus on entry-level interviews for PMs. Now, so it will help him prepare, right? And then during the video call, this is where it's going to happen. Now this is a prototype. Remember that this is a prototype. This is not going anywhere. It is not a real product. It is just a prototype. So with this now, you can walk your users through this solution, and you can get the necessary feedback. Now there are a lot of things I would love to refine here. Once it's the next day, which is tomorrow, I'll be able to refine this to actually, like, I'll be able to get more credit, and I'll be able to refine it. For example, this filtering here can be better, right? I feel like it can be better because it is not focusing on, let's say I'm interested in technical development, or let's say I'm a PM. There are no PM topics here, for instance. So I might have to add more filters here, like the filter that we have in Risely, this kind of filter where you can select a lot of other things, right? So I feel like the filter could have been better, And as you can see, this whole thing are just it just happens in 3 steps, right? Notice that I did not start adding landing pages. Now you can add that later when you have gotten your core flow, right? I can tell it tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to share this link with you so that you're going to be updated on how it's going to, grow, because I'm going to keep updating it. I can add a landing page to it. I can change the design system. I can refine the flow. Now, how you're going to refine the flow also depends on the validation session you're going to be doing with the users, right? So once you're done, submit it first before the task is over. Then you can continue refining it later. And once you're done, you can publish. So this is the link you're going to share with me. Ensure that you publish, right, and give it a name. So you can give it let's say Mentorfy, right? One.love. So it's not going to accept Mentorfy if another person has already taken it. So let me just give it Mentorfy. So yours can be mentorfy1.lovable.com, right? And once I'm done, who can visit this URL? Ensure that you set it at anyone so that I can actually view it, right? And once you're done, you save and then you publish. So once you publish, you'll be able to copy this link. Make sure you copy this link, and this is the link you're going to be attaching in your submission. Remember, there is a place in your task that says you should do a video, so make sure maybe you should put all your links inside maybe a Google Docs and submit the Google Docs, so that, and make sure you give me access to whatever you're using to submit, maybe either Canva or anything you want to use to submit. So let's go over the task overview, just for me to point out some things that you need to take note of. Just a minute. So as a product mentor at Mentorfy, you've already defined insights and a user flow. Now your team needs a prototype to quickly validate the mentor experience. So this is what you're going to do. Using Lovable, create a clickable end-to-end prototype. So this is end-to-end of the mentor discovery flow design in stage 2. Your prototype should show how a mentee enters the mentor discovery experience, selects or clarifies a learning goal, which is this one, sees relevant mentor recommendations, which is the one that's which is this one coming, which is this one, yeah, and sees relevant mentor, explores a mentor profile, which is this one. Right now, you don't have to follow my flow. Remember, you don't have to follow my flow. Check your flow, but make sure that it has the main things that I'm looking out for, which I have added to the task. Then takes a clear next step, like book a session, request connection, and all of that. So what do you need to build? Your prototype must include a clear entry point, right? For example, find a mentor screen, learning goal. So your entry point shouldn't be the same with my entry point. So it can be the same anyway, but it must not be the same. So depending on what your flow is and all of that, right? At least one mentor profile screen, but one is not enough. As you can see, I have like up to 8. So I think, okay, 6. So I think you can use this. So a clear action and confirmation on next step. What you don't need to build at this time, you're not looking for a real payment. As you can see, my payment was even like it was like a mock-up. You don't need a back-end logic because this is not a real application. No edge cases, because of course I wanted to save your credit. Now let's assume that you try to book a mentor that is not available. It can tell you that, oh, this mentor is not available at the moment. That is an edge case. You're trying to consider, what if this is the case, what if this is the scenario? But because I want us to focus on happy parts are just like the exact thing without errors, without any errors, the exact flow without errors of a prototype or even a functional application, right? The user have to pass through happily without any errors, without any ifs, before they get to their end, right? So build quickly and iterate, and use clear prompt bit by bit. So this is you learning about basics of prompting. I've already showed you the best practices, but you need to do it. If you don't do it bit by bit, the system can get this is machine, this is AI, it's not a human being, so it needs to take it and process it bit by bit, right? So optimize for clarity and smooth user experience, not polished so at this time you're not looking out for the best UI, you're looking for a smooth experience and a happy flow, a happy path rather. So the deliverables I need from you is a shareable project link from Lovable, like the one I just showed you how to generate, right? A short walkthrough video walking users through the prototype, what you prioritize, especially how you use data, how you prototype support learner confidence and help them achieve their goals easily. Evaluation criteria, I will leave that for you to read up. So I wish you all the best, and at the end of this challenge I believe you've learned a lot of things. I'm going to drop a resource today on how to generate your portfolio on Risely. So once you're done, you'll be able to generate your portfolio for this particular case study, for this particular project, and you'll be able to share it with anybody on LinkedIn, potential employers. You can also update it, you can have it on your LinkedIn profile as your own website, right? So this is the end of the last official video for this particular challenge, but you're going to be getting a video on how to generate your portfolio and how to generate your certificate if you're interested. That comes at a fee, but the portfolio is free. So if you're going to be able to afford it, just 5k, just ensure that you get your certificate if you're able to afford it. Let people know that you understand vibe coding, you understand prompt engineering, you understand prototyping, right? And you have solved a real problem in edtech. So that's what the certificate shows. Also, your portfolio shows the same thing, right? But certificate is just like an extra validation. So that's all for now. If you have any question, you know where to meet me on the chat. So good night or good evening wherever you are. PMs.